Hi guys, I've never been live before, so I'm a little nervous. It's a little scary, but we're doing it. So I made a post just now about, the common symptoms of thyroid disorders, and that one of the most common signs are fatigue, and how 1 in 8 women will develop thyroid problems in a lifetime. So I wanted to talk specifically about the chronic fatigue piece because I think it's one of the symptoms that can take the longest. I'm seeing little comments or messages from Instagram, so I'm figuring this out. But I think chronic fatigue is one of the things that is kind of hardest to get rid of when you're trying to go on your thyroid journey, and it's because you almost have to figure out how you got here. So I think most people who develop a thyroid disorder at some point didn't have one. So at some point you were living life feeling good, and then there was an ultimate crash or a slow burn where you slowly start to not feel like yourself anymore, and a lot of different things can happen. I'm going to talk specifically about what happened in my situation. Well, I think there was a lot, but we'll talk about, more of the adrenal side of it. So at some point you're living life as normal, and then something starts to wear on you. It could be your environment. It could be, like you're having too many toxins, you're not eating very well. There's a lot of things that could be adding stress to your body that are not necessarily life stress or work stress or school stress. In my case, it was probably a lot of that, but on top of it, I also was in college, and my whole life I've been kind of like either go, or I don't do anything at all. So to feel good about myself, I always had a jam-packed schedule, because that was kind of just how I was raised, that productivity means that you're a valuable member to society, right? So in college, there was a point where I was doing a lot and I was loving it. I was thriving. I felt like Superwoman. So that's actually not a good thing. When you feel so high and full of adrenaline all the time and you feel like Superwoman or Superman, that's actually one of the first stages of adrenal burnout. And it doesn't mean that you're going to burn out as long as you calm your system down, reel yourself back in, and add in time periods to relax. But if you keep going, you're going to go to the next stage, which is not feeling like Superwoman anymore. It's feeling wired but tired. And when you're feeling wired but tired, you feel like you have a lot you want to do, you want to get done. You might be even mentally there, but your body's fatigued. You're kind of like, I want to get all this stuff done, but I'm really not in the mood. You might start procrastinating things. You might just feel like in the evenings you're thinking about a lot of things and you're tired, but you can't fall asleep. It's that second stage of your adrenal's not working properly, and it's screaming at you like you got to change something because this is not going well. You want to do a lot, but you can't. And then the third stage is exhaustion. And that's when you go to chronic fatigue. It's like you can't even keep up with things anymore that you used to. You're just tired all the time, and it sucks, right? So then the solutions become, I would say threefold. And the first is that physical component where you start maximizing your diet, you start honing in, you start focusing on relaxation. I wrote a couple notes for myself just in case I forget. But you basically try to, give your body the nourishment that it needs, because you're not in a place where, you're feeling good all the time. So diet, relaxation, calming your system down, maybe doing some yoga, different things like that is a big part of getting out of that exhaustion phase of adrenal fatigue and trying to get to the other side of chronic fatigue. But then the second part of it will be, if you're working with a holistic provider, I utilize a lot of supplements. If you're working with a doctor, then it's figuring out what else is off balance during that time. And for a lot of people, if they're dealing with chronic fatigue, it could be thyroid issues. It doesn't always mean you're going to have a thyroid problem, but you could. And if your thyroid problem is bad enough, then you might have to utilize medications. There are supplements that can support it, but sometimes medications are necessary for extreme thyroid dysfunction. And then at the same time, you have to figure out what else is going on that's contributing to that thyroid dysfunction. Maybe your lifestyle got you there, but now it's like it's gone beyond that. Because when you get to that level of exhaustion in your journey, then it comes down to, is your gut also dysfunctioning? Do you need supplements to support your stress levels? Like, there are things like ashwagandha, not good for PCOS though, but there's different supplements that you can utilize to kind of reduce that stress response, to make you feel a little bit calmer so your body can work towards healing. But if you have like gut problems, then you have to fix that, because if your gut's not functioning properly, it's not absorbing nutrients properly. It is adding to the stress load of your body, and your body already can't handle it. So supplements have to be targeted, and they can't just be random whatever you found. You have to figure out what exactly is going on, and you might be having other infections and things that you caught along the way because your body wasn't focused on having a strong immune system. It was focused on dealing with the stress load you put it through. So that is a big part of it, and that is where it becomes a little bit challenging. And then the last piece is so incredibly important, and it's something that is a very personal journey, and it's figuring out your emotional and mental component. What got you to an exhaustion stage of adrenal burnout and chronic fatigue? Like, was it because you're not listening to yourself? You're trying to do things based on other people's expectations. You're trying to be someone you're not, and it's starting to weigh on you every single day. You're trying to, I don't know. There's so many parts to it. Is it because of trauma that you haven't dealt with? It might not even be big trauma. It could be, childhood trauma. It could be things that you dealt with in school, maybe bullying. Maybe there's certain scenarios you went through that just hit you as a person or a young person, and you never fully recovered from them, and you have to kind of, deal with that. But I do think a big part of it is usually how you live your lifestyle and why you live the lifestyle that you do. Are you doing it because you genuinely enjoy it? Or are you doing it because you feel like you have to fit some sort of expectations? And if you do enjoy it, why do you enjoy it? Are you addicted to adrenaline? I've been there. I love like high adrenaline activities. And that's all good as long as you balance it with calming activities. It's all about learning your body and learning a lifestyle that can keep you sustainable longer. Because being on high alert all the time and feeling like Superwoman all the time with no breaks is not sustainable. I mean, I wish it was, because then we could get a lot done, but that's not how your body works. So getting out of chronic fatigue takes time, and it takes rebuilding your mind, retraining how you think, how you do things, how you approach things, and also like how you eat and how you, even your social connections, like whether they're really good for you, whether you need to develop more boundaries, or whether maybe you just want to find more people who share an interest or passion with you, because that's sometimes also important. That if everyone in your community just doesn't get what you're into or what you're excited about, reaching out and finding a community that does can add to your life and make you feel more like yourself, and that part is also important. So yeah, that's just a couple things I wanted to chat about, because I did make a post on thyroid disorders and chronic fatigue. And I do want to mention that not all cases of chronic fatigue means that you're going to be hypothyroid. But either way, you have to kind of go through all the components of physical solutions by nourishing your body, relaxing, the emotional and mental components to changing your lifestyle and changing how you think, how you do things, how you perceive the world. And then either going the medical or holistic approach of medications and supplements. I'm obviously a little bit biased, so I think medications is usually not enough. But I do think working with someone to figure out what exactly went wrong can be super helpful. But you can learn a lot on your own too. That's where I started. I just read a lot of books. I started with diet. I started with, yoga. I started with changing how I do things. And that took years because there are a lot of things I ignored. And I try to tell myself, oh, I can still be at this level. I just need to boost it up with, food and nutrition and, all these other things. So it takes a little bit of time to figure out how to get there. But you can. You definitely can. If I can do it, if other people can do it, you can do it too. So I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. I do not know how to get off. So there we go.